It's a real pleasure to welcome you to the 12th annual 7 Under 30 Speaker Series. Before we get going, I would like to thank our speakers for being with us today. We are so proud to present this group of innovators, and particularly delighted that they are all FSU graduates from 4 different colleges across FSU: social science and public policy, business, English, and our very own Jim Moran College of Entrepreneurship. This shows that JMC is committed and dedicated to growing the entrepreneurial ecosystem across campus. The first 7 Under 30 event was started by the Jim Moran Institute in 2012 by Dr. Randy Blass, with the input of students interested in entrepreneurship. It's so great to see that this program continues to grow and bring back such wonderful alumni. We know, although virtually every profession demands a certain level of entrepreneurial thinking, very few students actually gain entrepreneurial experience and training before they graduate. Whether students dream of starting a tech company, a social enterprise, a nutrition business, or apparel boutique, the college will inspire and prepare them by providing a rich curriculum, for entrepreneurship majors and minors, an environment that promotes entrepreneurial thinking, hands-on learning, real-life experience through business mentoring, networking, and internships. Our goal as the Jim Moran College is to give all students an opportunity to learn fundamental business practices that will enhance their career potential and show all students at Florida State University what is possible in entrepreneurship after they graduate. We believe students benefit greatly from hearing from young entrepreneurs like those that we have here today. I know you are eager to hear from this amazing group, so to move along, I would like to thank Wendy Plant, who is formerly the director of the Center for Student Engagement, but has recently been promoted to assistant dean overseeing our Jim Moran Institute. Caitlyn Simpson, our program manager for the Center for Student Engagement, and Morgan Rogers, the program coordinator for Blackstone Launchpad, for organizing this great event. Wendy was, and Caitlyn and Morgan are, still responsible for day-to-day development and management of student activities outside the classroom. These include business plan competitions and events supported by the Jim Moran College of Entrepreneurship. Now, please help me welcome Caitlyn to the stage.
Thank you, Dean Fiorito. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm so excited to see everybody here. We have a wonderful group of speakers, and I'm excited to see many of you here in person as well as joining us online. I would first like to thank Wendy Plant, who cannot be here with us today because she is out sick. She is my boss and has been a great mentor to me since I've started here at the college, so wanted to give a shout out to her. I'd also like to thank Morgan Rogers, Rosie Lopez, Kirsten Harrison, Lisa Lopez-DePena, and also Ryan Geralds for all the staff, student volunteers from the Jim Moran College of Entrepreneurship for their help arranging for today. Peter, our MC, is originally from Kissimmee, Florida, just outside the great city of Orlando. He is a serial entrepreneur and is always eager to engage in a new project, and he is currently the owner of Uni Cleaning Crew, a commercial cleaning company here in town, and he plans on starting his real estate investing journey. He enjoys his commitment to Blackstone Launchpad as the president and ambassador of the club and Entrepreneurs, an automotive franchising club here at Florida State, working close with Peter Boulware. In the midst of that, Peter is acquiring his Bachelor's of Science in Interdisciplinary Social Sciences and a concentration of social entrepreneurship and economics, with 2 minors, one in business general and the other in automotive franchising. Peter, thank you so much for being here and to lead this great group of speakers, and I'd like to welcome Peter up to the stage.
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you, Caitlyn. Well, let's get started. Our first speaker is Caitlyn Burdash. Caitlyn Burdash is the founder of Burdash Bikinis, a handmade swimwear lifestyle brand created with the sole intention that every time you step into your Burdash bikini, you are also stepping into the most radiant self. Katie began designing and sewing swimwear out of her bedroom during her time as an undergraduate student in the 2020, and since then has built Burdash Bikinis into a well-recognized South Florida brand, featured on Deco Drive TV, Clutch Magazine, Story App, Her Campus, and the Smart and Hot podcast.
My mouth is so sorry.
Upon starting the brand as a self-taught seamstress, Katie has expanded her custom design work to beachwear, dresswear, costume wear, accessories. Burdash Bikinis has become best known for its over-the-top feminine designs. Please give a warm welcome to Caitlyn Burdash.
Hi, everyone. I'm Katie Burdash. I just have to put my water down. Right here. Thank you. I'm Katie Burdash. I'm the founder and designer of Burdash Bikinis, a women's handmade by me fashion and swimwear brand. At Burdash, we strive to celebrate the beauty of a free-spirited woman who loves herself in her own skin. We believe in salty hair, sandy toes, and sun-kissed smiles. Every Burdash bikini is handcrafted with the sole intention that every time you are stepping into your swimwear, you are stepping into your most radiant and most beautiful self. So Burdash did start here in the Jim Moran College of Entrepreneurship, and so I want to tell you a little bit about how that started, because it really wasn't that long ago when I was sitting in these chairs too, and I know there's some great future entrepreneurs out here. So I started Burdash during the COVID-19 pandemic. So it was a really uncertain time in my life. I was a junior, and it was my spring semester. And when you're a part of the Jim Moran School of Entrepreneurship, you are required to do a summer internship. And I was really excited. I had this one role that I really wanted, and it was in New York City. I thought that's what I was meant to be doing. And it didn't work out the way I imagined, and I'm so grateful for that, because that's kind of what started Burdash. I had a rejection that I turned into just a redirection. And so that's something I want everybody to remember. If something doesn't go your way, every rejection is meant to happen, because it's going to lead you to where you're supposed to be. And I applied to that internship. I didn't get it. It wasn't the end of the world. A spark of inspiration came, and Burdash Bikinis was there. And, I started this business here at school as a junior, so I was still a full-time student. I felt very honored to have the faculty and the professors that I did, because without them, I probably would have been a hot mess. And it was really great to actually apply everything I was learning in my classes real time into my business. So I just want to shout out all my professors. They were always the best and answered all my questions. And, I still use my textile book to this day. If some of you take that class, you know what I'm talking about. Like over 500 fabric samples, and since I'm a fashion designer, I use it all the time. I also was a recipient of the Jim Moran Micro Grant, and I can say that really set me up for success. So if you are thinking about it, just apply, guys, and do it, because I was unsure. I had minimal confidence in myself, and because of the advisors that I met through the Micro Grant, they believed in me, so of course I had to believe in myself. So I think sometimes all it takes is, just believing that you could do it, because you probably can. So I wanted to also mention that I had no idea what I was doing, guys. I knew kind of how to run a business. I took all these classes, but I had no idea how to sew, and I wanted to start a fashion brand that was handmade. So I bought a sewing machine and some fabric, some rhinestones, and I just started sewing. I watched a billion YouTube videos, and I took a stab at what I thought was going to be like, the cutest bikini ever. It actually sucked. My first bikini I ever made sucked. That was 3 years ago. So it's really incredible for me to actually look at the stuff I was making when I first started up to now. And it just goes to show that, like, if you have a dream and you want to learn how to do something, don't let the idea of failing stop you. And if there's one thing I want you all to remember from my speech, is that you can't be afraid to be a beginner. So I proved to myself that I could teach myself something, and it all ended up, paying off. And I dedicated all of my free time in school. I was a junior, like it was the end of my college, and I dedicated all my free time to learning how to run this business and sewing. And I would go to class, come home, sew, put out orders. I had a really great group of friends and sorority sisters who modeled for me, and it was really amazing to just feel like I was doing something for a higher purpose. Like, I was still in college, and I felt like, okay, wait, this could potentially be my career. So I just felt, honestly, really aligned with this business. And, I think what sets my business apart is kind of that passion, the drive, and the originality that lies behind Burdash Bikinis. And I watched my brand grow from this little tiny thing that I started in my college bedroom. Like, I don't know how I did it. I started in college bedroom, and now it's grown into this entity of its own organically. And I kind of credit a lot of that to social media and, creative content creation. So I think if you are excited to maybe start a business or look into entrepreneurship, you can't forget how important social media can build a community. And with that, Instagram and TikTok, I was able to build a community, and I call them my Burdash babes. So they all wear Burdash bikinis, and it's just amazing to see all the women who are wearing my stuff, and they all come together, and they just all, it's a community. And I had no idea that I was creating that when I was, so it's really neat to see just how much everybody supports and loves each other. And I also want to mention this brand. My brand isn't just about sewing and social media. I think the most important part about Burdash is kind of why I do it, and that why is because I do it for self-love, for confidence. I want everybody who wears a Burdash bikini to feel like a superstar, a supermodel. We're all supermodels. Everybody deserves the right to feel beautiful. And swimwear is hard because you're not wearing, it's not a lot. Let's be for real, it's not a lot. It's the least amount of fabric. So as a fashion designer, I want everybody who's wearing my designs to feel like it's a second skin, to feel so comfortable and beautiful. So it really is a great feeling when I get messages from my customers letting me know that, wow, I love this so much, I've never had anything like it. And it kind of gave me the drive to keep doing it, because I was like, okay, yeah, swimsuits, it's cool. But okay, wait, I'm helping this person love themselves. That's a lot. And I got so passionate about it. I started doing customs, and it opened so many doors for me. I now do Halloween costumes, and the point of that is I want everyone to know, being an entrepreneur, it's limitless. There is so much you can do, and there's so many ideas that are going to come into you, and everything is so just special and important. And if you feel called to do something, don't let the idea of failure stop you. This limitless mindset is great. And Burdash Bikinis now has no limits. Guys, I'm making Halloween costumes, a swimsuit, New Year's Eve. I'm making a bridal gown this month. The fact that I'm a self-taught is mind-blowing, and sometimes it's hard for me to look back and be like, wow, this is where it all came from. But guys, it literally started with me sitting in the seats that you are in right now. And I think that goes to show that they're doing something right here. As entrepreneurs, we all are really ambitious and fearless too. We want to do everything ourselves, and we have all these ideas, and sometimes it's not glamorous. And I think, obviously, everyone might tell you that today. It's not a glamorous job. It's really hard. And there's days where I'm sitting there sewing for 18 hours straight on my sewing machine. And, you know, it's worth it because I love what I'm doing. And starting this made-to-order fashion brand I didn't expect to do this. It's the craziest thing I've ever done and the best thing I've ever done. And I took a risk, and now I get to call myself a fashion designer because of it. And guys, it's crazy. I didn't think that I would be able, when I was like 20 starting this, I had no idea that that would happen. But to be an entrepreneur is to believe in yourself with your whole heart. And building a business from the ground up is going to be the hardest thing you'll ever do, but it's going to be the best personal development journey that you are ever going to go on. You're going to learn so much about yourself, so much about the people around you, and you know you're going to have to do the things that scare you, take the biggest risks, and be okay with falling flat on your face and getting right back up with a smile. So I wanted to thank all of you guys today for being here, to my friends online, and to Jim Moran for kind of building me into this amazing entrepreneur. Thank you.
All right. Our next guest we have is Charles Burnett. He's a proud Sigma Chi at FSU and is a devoted fan of Florida State athletics. Memorable moments include the 51-14 victory against Clemson in 2013, the national championship win. His FSU experience honed his ability to connect with diverse people, a vital skill in his professional journey. He attributes his entrepreneurial spirit to FSU professor Bob Gardner. Excellere IT Services built a thriving IT managed service business from scratch with no outside investment. It grew from 1 to 130 customers in under 3 years, with consistent doubling of revenue each year and set to double again in 2023. When not working, Charles can be found watching his beloved Jacksonville Jaguars, golfing with friends, and taking his Bernese mountain dog Lola to the dog park. Charles and his wife, Eva, enjoy all the great foods and cuisines of Washington, D.C. has to offer and love hitting the latest and greatest restaurants in the area. Please welcome Charles Burnett.
Sing on? All right. Hello, everyone. First and foremost, I just want to thank FSU for having me here today. I want to thank Professor Gardner for nominating me. He meant a lot to me at FSU and taught me a lot. My name is Charlie Burnett. I'm part owner and founder of an IT managed service company called Excellere IT Services. We do everything. We manage IT infrastructures for businesses size 2 employees to our biggest customers, 38,000 employees, so wide range. Do a little resale of hardware and software. In short, we fix people's IT problems. That's it. It's been an incredible journey so far. We've grown to 140, I think 146 customers at last count organically, and they all span the globe. We have customers, I believe, in all 50 states, Asia, Europe, South America, and Canada, North America. Anyhow, I really want to use the rest of my time here for my speech to kind of go through these 9 principles that I was able to come up with that I think that I've learned just throughout my time at Excellere, and they may not apply to everyone. They've applied to me. I hope that you can get something out of them. Number 1, the devil is in the details. I always tell people, expect when you email them that they have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, you got to explain everything to the most minute detail. I always tell people, explain it to me, please, like I'm 4 years old. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sure you have no idea what I'm talking about, because I've seen more deals go awry because of one tiny little minute detail that was missed in an email or a phone call or anything like Number 2, find common ground. people are always used to just being sold, right? I mean, and especially when you're a young entrepreneur, you get out there. I mean, I did this. I was the worst offender. You get out there, and all you want to do, you want to jump right to it when you're talking to somebody to sell them. But I've really found common ground with different customers and different things. Like I talk more Jaguar and Seminoles football with half of these customers than I do work itself. But finding that common ground, at least in my experience, it kind of helps build that relationship. It makes it seem less transactional. Number 3 is speed kills. Some people actually might hate this one. When I get an email, I think it's just because I'm kind of eager and want to jump on it, but I take sometimes 30 seconds to a minute to fire a response back because, I don't know, I just found it makes the customer feel like, hey, you care about them, and B, that flow of communication starts. And I use every type of communication you can think about. I mean, phone call, number 1, but text message, Teams, email, all of it. Use it all. Number 4 was adapt or die. The business landscape is constantly changing. We've had multiple customers that have gone through leadership changes, and a lot of those leaders were people that brought us into the business. And you know, when they're fired, it's sort of like, oh, what do you got to do? But you got to get that whoever's replacing them. You got to take them out, get them out to lunch, get them out to a game if they like sports. Talk to them, get to know them, and then show your value. You know, explain to them what all you've done for the organization that they're coming into, and show them, you know, how you're going to help them and continue that. Because a lot of the times, those new guys are coming in and they're looking to replace you with their partners that they've been friends with. So we've fended off a lot of that, and again, I think it's just that adapting idea. Number 5, this one was the hardest one for me. Accountability. Just admitting flat out when you're wrong. I never, and my mom and my wife will tell you this, and my dad too, like, never want to admit ever when I'm wrong, but over the years, I think it's an important value that I've learned. Just, hey, I was wrong there, flat out. And it's helped me learn. Number 6 is flexibility. More than one way to do one thing, right? There are certain people that I've met, they're really dead set, stuck on, you got it now. It's only done this way. And I just, that's false. There's a billion and one ways to kind of solve a problem and get to the bottom of something. Number 7, the teachers aren't going to like this one, but keep up with the tech. Specifically, I use ChatGPT almost every single day in my job to teach me something, whether it's an Excel formula or whatever. I mean, it saved me hours. One specific example, I had no idea about these 2 different technologies that I was trying to sell, and I had it create me a sales pitch to compare and contrast and build out the pros and cons between each of them, and I was able to just copy and paste that. Well, it would have taken me, you know, I don't know, hours of research. Took this tool, you know, 30 seconds, and it was perfect. Number 8, always stay learning. I learn something new every single day. You always just have to stick at it and keep learning. And then number 9, the teachers might like this one. If CGS 2518 is still a class offered at FSU, go and sign up for it tomorrow. Go to every single class. Pay attention and try and ace it. That's the Excel class. I did not take it. I've spent days of my life learning Excel on the fly, and I would have just taken that class. I would have those days back. Anyhow, those are my 9 principles I laid out. I think if you follow those, you're going to have a good shot of being successful in your own right. You know, they've helped me out a lot. And one last thing I want to hit on. I was not your typical student. I did not have your typical path to graduation. I almost fluttered out of Florida State 3 or 4 times. It took me I think it took me 6 years actually to graduate. But I got back to Jacksonville, and I was moving tile, and it was physical manual labor. Waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning, I was like, I don't want to do this, and that kind of motivated me. And then just my love for Florida State. I wanted to finish those last 6 credits and get that piece of paper, get that degree. And so that just, my note to any students out there, if you're struggling and you're not doing well in school, just keep at it. Keep chopping wood. You'll get there, and it's worth it in the end. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for having me.
Our next guest is Jacky Levy. Jacky Levy is the founder and CEO of Athlogic, a sports analytics company bridging the gap between professional analytics and amateur sports. Athlogic's application was utilized by 1,800 high school football teams in the fall of 2022, recording stats for over 1.3 million plays and providing valuable data to college football recruiters. With a passion for analytics, Jacky first conceived the idea for Athlogic while serving as a statistician for his high school football team. From this, you can tell he was the most popular guy. And was later able to transform it into reality during his senior year at Florida State University when he participated in the Innovation Challenge. A 2020 graduate of Florida State with a Bachelor in Science in Management Information Systems and a minor in Computer Science, Jacky launched his career as an ML/analytics specialist at IBM's Advanced Technology Group, as a sales engineer, and later as a product manager in New York City. Now at the helm of Athlogic, Jacky continues to revolutionize the sports analytics industry and empower teams at a level with data-driven insights. Please welcome Jacky Levy.
How y'all doing? Just gonna grab this stuff right here. So we live in strange times, and I feel like that might be an understatement. So unless you're George Orwell, you can't predict the future, but you can write it. And today I want to tell you all why you should and how to do it. My message today isn't meant for everyone. My message today is for those of you who are extremely ambitious, humble, arrogant, and contrarian. Y Combinator, which is the largest startup accelerator in the world, defines startups as a small, early-stage company built to grow fast. And that's a good definition, but it's not a complete one. Startups are all of that, plus they create radically new things. Spotify wasn't an incremental improvement over iTunes. It was a radically new way to listen to music, a way that redefined the entire music industry. Snapchat wasn't a new messaging system. It was a radically new way to communicate. So while I prepared for this talk, I came across a lot of blogs, videos, and essays that encourage people who are later in their careers to pursue their startup dreams. And that's fantastic because their experience and breadth of knowledge can be a huge advantage. But life is full of trade-offs, and entrepreneurship is no exception. The advantage of age is that you know your advantages. You know your strengths, you know your weaknesses. But funny enough, the contrary is the advantage of the young founder. And this likely leads to a better upside if you're successful in your execution. Your inexperience is an advantage because you view problems with fresh eyes. The young founder sees problems that the old founder has learned to ignore. The other advantage of youth and entrepreneurship is when it comes to risk tolerance. Your lack of resources and surplus of time positions you better to create radically new products through risk. And this is why the young startup founder tends to create products that radically improve on their predecessors versus the older startup founder, who creates products that are only marginal improvements. And for context, in 1994, only a year out of his studies of the University of Illinois, Mark Andreessen, who was then 22 years old, went on to co-found the Mosaic browser, later renamed Netscape, a browser that many today credit for popularizing the internet. He did that at 22. Bill Gates founded Microsoft at 19. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak were 21 and 25 respectively when they co-founded Apple. Elon Musk was 24 when he co-founded his first company, Zip2. Evan Spiegel was 21 when he co-founded Snapchat, and the founding fathers of the United States were in their 20s when they signed the Declaration of Independence. So needless to say, I was a bit surprised when I found out that the average age of a startup founder today is 42. And it's not that people my age, or our age for the students here, lack creativity, and we definitely have the ideas to start these businesses. However, the crux of our species' extinction is fear. So as of this moment, I'm declaring that the species of the young startup founder to be, endangered. And I don't know exactly why, but I have a good guess it has a lot to do with cell phone. And from the conversations I've had with people around my age who have startup aspirations but can't seem to pull the trigger, I've noticed a trend. These individuals typically lack focus when it comes to their idea, paired with a crippling fear of failure. So what does that mean? It's a good question. Starting a startup is both an art and a science. The art part, which is fun to say, is that you're having a conversation with your market, your audience. You throw shit out there and you see what comes back. Or more appropriately for this setting, you put out a product and you see how your audience reacts to it. The science part is that startups are just individuals testing a hypothesis. And doing this successfully requires focus. Anything that's outside of the initial scope of your hypothesis is just introducing new variables that muddy the waters and keep you away from the answers you really need. There will always be another reason to not start your business. You can always find another reason to wait another year when you have more experience, money, or connections. But what will you regret when you're 80 years old looking back at your life? The excuses you make today will most likely kill your idea that could have become successful had you actually taken the leap to pursue it. Let me just take a little break here. The point of startup entrepreneurship is to fail. And the good news is that there's almost no entrepreneurs out there that got it right on the first try. The founders who are successful are the founders that pivot when they fail. Those that gave up or never tried in the first place are the ones that truly experienced failure. And I know this because Athlogic is at least my third attempt at starting a startup. My junior year, I only made it to the semifinals of the startup pitch competition, the Innovation Challenge, before I was eliminated. And if I'd conceded, I wouldn't be standing in front of you all today. But I took that loss, and I built what brought me here today. And I'm happy to say that as of today, Athlogic is used by a quarter of all high school football teams worldwide to record play-by-play stats. The product that I put my entire livelihood and savings behind is changing the lives of thousands of young men and women worldwide, and it's beginning to redefine the entire sporting landscape. The easy thing to do after losing the Innovation Challenge would have been to quit. The easy thing for me to have done would have been to have stayed in corporate in a high-paying job. But that's not how you change the world. Entrepreneurship and startups are often painted to be something sexy in today's day. And that's doing a massive disservice to what is possibly the least sexy career there is. So I'll finish on this one thing. Jeff Bezos would start every one of his annual shareholder letters by proclaiming that today is day one at Amazon. And for me, that's no different. Today is day one for Athlogic, and tomorrow will be as well. And if there's one thing you take from this talk today, it's to make day one for yourself, your business, and your vision of the future. Do the hard thing, do the things that matter, and get started now. Thank you. Oh, thanks.
Our next speaker, Alisa Nguyen Halvorson. She is a fashion and beauty industry entrepreneur who graduated from Florida State with a degree in retail entrepreneurship. During her time as a student, she founded 2 businesses. One focused on drop shipping IPL products from China, and the other on helping women recover from sexual and domestic assault through fashion and art. After completing her studies, Elisé continued to expand her expertise at the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in Los Angeles. Today, she is a fashion designer who specializes in manufacturing athletic wear for major retailers. Elisé is thrilled to connect with FSU student entrepreneurs and share her vast experience to help them achieve clarity in their businesses. Please welcome Elisé.
What is entrepreneurship? How do I succeed in entrepreneurship? Is entrepreneurship risky, and is it even worth the risk? Raise your hand if you're a student entrepreneur aspiring to start your own business one day and you're asking yourself those questions right now. Hey, my name's Elisé. I graduated from FSU in 21. During my time here, I started a social enterprise fashion house designed to accelerate the healing of sexual assault survivors. I graduated very recently. I'm just like one of you, probably about the same age, and I know how overwhelming it is being a student entrepreneur. You're at the bottom of a mountain, and at the top of the mountain, you see your dreams, you see your business, you see your potential, but how do you get there? I want you to ask yourself one question today. How do I become the change I want to see in the world? How do I become the change I want to see in the world? What problems do you notice in the world that you can uniquely solve? During my time here, I started my business by complete accident. I had a public speaking class. During my time, a teacher said, you're supposed to give a presentation about a fellow student. I had the idea, why don't I paint the fellow student? We'll talk about her personality, and then I can present her persona both visually and verbally to the class. I was assigned an international student from China. She came over to my house. While she's sitting on my bed, she noticed behind me a bookshelf with one word, a 4-letter word, R-A-P-E, over the title of a lot of books. She says to me, Elisé, I speak English very well. I did not learn that word in school. What does this mean? I'm a student. I'm nervous. That's a hard topic to talk about. Who wants to talk about that? I'm dodging the question. While I'm painting her, while I'm talking to her, she keeps bringing it up over and over again. What does that mean? What exactly is this? And in those books, I share with her a couple of realistic but dark statistics. 1 in 4 to 1 in 5 women experience RAPE throughout their lifetime. In a building like this, let's say there's at least 40 women here, that's gonna be about 10 in this room right now. Women between the ages of 18 to 24 are 3 times more likely to experience that. So that is going to occur during your college years. 80 to 90% of it is unreported. 43%, so about half, never tell a soul. When me and my fellow student were talking about it, we locked eyes and we knew that both of us were a part of that statistic. So we hear at first a problem. Number two, once you find that problem, that unique problem that you don't know the solution to, focus on helping one person. After I finished painting her, and we talked about our experiences, I didn't think anything of it. A month later, I had to give the presentation in class. I didn't even speak about that topic. I just presented my fellow student. But here's the interesting thing. My fellow student interrupted me, and she said, Elisé, I want to take over. I want to talk about this now. This project has changed my life. Growing up, so just a little bit of context here. So she is, she's from China. In China, culturally, many family members live in the same house generationally. For her, it happened with an uncle. She said, growing up, I always lived with my perpetrator. I always saw myself as something small and weak and shameful. But during this project, when I finally talked to someone and together I painted a picture of myself and hung it in my bathroom every single morning, I started realizing slowly, I'm actually not that weak. I'm actually great. I'm actually powerful in my own way, and I can write the end of my story. I only have about 7 minutes today, so I don't think I can explain the neuroscience of what exactly occurs in a survivor's brain, but here are the spark notes, okay? There's a hippocampus, which is a part of your brain. It's about 2 inches long. This is a part of your brain that stores every single memory you've ever experienced, whether you consciously realize it or not. But here's the interesting thing about the hippocampus. Your brain cannot distinguish reality from your imagination. It's all recorded in there as fact. So for a survivor, every single time they think about it, their brain is registering as reliving the experience over and over and over again. What does this do? This creates an extremely distorted self-image. And from there, your RAS, your reticular activated system, once you create a self-image, you cannot rise above it. Your brain will send stress hormones every time you go out of your comfort zone and will keep you in that box. We learned by mistake, by accident, by coincidence, that through going through the creative process of creating, whether it be art or a fashion collection for yourself, it changes a survivor's self-image. It changes the way their neurons form in their brain. And for the first time, they write the end to their own stories. Once you figure out what's this unique problem, how can I help this one person in their unique problem? Build a system to help people on a mass scale. I'm really sorry, I gotta wrap it up. In the Q&A, I'd love to talk to you about the logistics of that, how to scale a retail business on a mass level. But I just wanna say this. If you're taking time out of your day to be here and to educate yourself further in entrepreneurship, that's the first step. I'm really proud of you. Keep believing in yourself. Ask yourself every single day, what problem can I solve? Don't rush. They say it takes about 10,000 hours to be a master at your craft, so you don't need to be a millionaire by the time you're 25. Focus on providing value. Always remember that one person you helped in the beginning. That's gonna be your confidence reference when you're in the murky middle and you don't know where to go next. But at least you changed that one person's life. Thank you, Jim Moran, and I appreciate you all for being here.
Our next speaker, Karolyne Roberts, is the best-selling author of 10 books and a motivational speaker who is blazing the trail for change makers and transformational leaders worldwide. Through her YouTube channel, she inspires over 430,000 subscribers from around the globe. Karolyne is the wife to her college sweetheart and husband of 10 years, Kel Roberts, and a mother to their 4 children, Evelyn, Blake, Crystal, and Ava. She received a Bachelor of Arts degree in creative writing and is a former member of the JMI Business Incubator Program, where she was awarded her first business startup grant. As a writing and business coach, she helps women walk in purpose while teaching them how to balance everyday life. Karolyne is the founder and CEO of the Writers Retreat, Luminous Publishing, and Soar System coaching program, where she helps women scale their business for greater impact and influence. Please welcome Karolyne Roberts.
Hi, everyone. Hello, everybody. I'm super excited to present today. Thank you so much, Wendy, Caitlyn, Morgan, and Peter. That's my baby. I guess she sees me, so she wants me. My family is back there. My 4 kids, my husband, Cal. Hey. I'm super excited today. So what I think I didn't include in my bio, in 2020, I was Mrs. Haiti International, 2022. And on my flight to the national pageant, actually, I was sitting next to someone, and I just felt like, talking to them to get to know them a little bit more. And I think as an entrepreneur, it's important to network, connect, learn more about people around you. And today, I have one tip to talk to you about, because I wouldn't be here today if I didn't learn this tip for myself. And what we're talking about today is getting in position. Getting in position. And if I wasn't in position, I wouldn't be here today. So I'm on this flight, and I'm sitting next to someone, and I'm getting to know them a little bit, and it turns out they were an FSU football coach. And I was like, oh my goodness, I went to FSU, and I was kind of telling him where I was going. I was like, I'm on my way to the international pageant, and I'm Mrs. Haiti International, and I went to FSU, and I was just telling him some of the stuff I did here. And he's like, have you ever thought of going back and speaking at FSU, because of everything that you've gone through in your life? And I'm like, I've always wanted to do that. And I was like, I would love to go back to the business school or to the creative writing school and speak to the students there. So the fact that I'm here today, it's crazy. But a week after meeting this FSU coach, I'm just going through my Facebook DMs, which I would never check because they're overflowing. And I had been saying, it's been a while since I received any speaking engagements or any opportunities. I had a new book, and I have a form set up on my website to receive those types of things. And I just felt like going through, clean out my DMs. And I saw in my Facebook DMs an invitation from Wendy to come here last year. And I was like, oh my gosh, I had an opportunity and I didn't miss it because I wasn't in position in my DMs. I thought my opportunities were just gonna come from my website, right? But opportunities could come from places that you do not expect. I was cleaning out my DMs. I found 2 other invitations for TV show interviews for my book. And I was like, okay, we need to fix this, right? We need to get this together. So all that to say, one of my favorite games to play is the game of chess. Do we have any chess lovers here? Okay, so I love playing the game of chess. This is a game that my stepdad taught me when I was younger, and my favorite player in the game of chess is the queen, because literally she can move in any position. She can go left, right, front, back, diagonal, and the objective of the game is to get a checkmate, but it's all, dependent on the moves that you make, the strategy that you have, and thinking steps ahead. So I really want to encourage you, even in the game of chess, your opponent is life. You can't control what life throws at you. You can't control the circumstances that you go through. A lot of, the entrepreneurs, I've been able to meet them since arriving here yesterday. A lot of them, we've been talking about, 2020 and the pandemic and different things that we've experienced in our business. But it's not about what life throws at you. It's about how you respond to those circumstances and then the moves you make to get yourself back up and keep going. So that's just one of the things that I was thinking of. And does anybody remember the chicken sandwich wars of 2019? If you remember the Chicken Sandwich Wars of 2019? Raise your hand. Okay, who was Team Popeyes? Oh, I can't believe you. Who was Team Chick-fil-A? I am Team Chick-fil-A in here. There's anointing on those chicken sandwiches. I love Chick-fil-A. And one of the big business lessons that I just watched from seeing those chicken sandwich wars, like they had lines out of the restaurants. It was all over social media. I think it started because Popeyes came out with a new chicken sandwich. They put it on Twitter, and Chick-fil-A said, "We are the original chicken sandwich makers." And it just went crazy from there. And it was so amazing because there was all this momentum, all this opportunity, new customers, people trying it out. Guess what happened? Popeyes ran out of chicken sandwiches. They were not ready for that opportunity. They were not in position. They were not ready for their moment. So if there's anything that I want to lead you with today, especially if you're a student at FSU and you're thinking of your next steps, and where you want to go, like think, how can I get myself in position? How can I be prepared for the world out there and the opportunities coming my way? Is it creating a business plan? Is it taking that internship? Is it joining that networking group? How can I put myself in the right rooms and in the right places for those opportunities? And another thing that I want to say is, sometimes it's not just, okay, you may be prepared, you may be ready to say, okay, I do have the business plan, I created the social media account, the website, I'm ready. And you sit and you're waiting. You're like, okay, now it's time for the opportunity to come. Sometimes as an entrepreneur, you're going to have to build your own opportunities. You're going to have to create your own table. And that's something that I did. So at FSU, actually, when I was in my junior year, I wrote my first book. I self-published it. At that time, I didn't feel like, I was in the position to land, a major book deal, but I was like, I'm gonna figure this out and I'm gonna do it myself. And you've heard from then, it's not just about me, publishing 10 books. I started Luminous Publishing, my publishing company, where I've been able to help women from around the world publish their own books. Women who are underrepresented, women who don't, have voices or have those opportunities. And when you build your own table, you build your own opportunities, then maybe down the road you'll get a bigger opportunity that you were looking for that you maybe weren't ready for back then, right? So now I'm in a place where I have a literary agent now, and we're pitching different ideas to larger publishers, but I wasn't in that place before. So if anything I want you to get out today is to be in position, practice your skill, become the best that you can at whatever it is that you're passionate about. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't ever get complacent. We were talking about this earlier. Maybe you're comfortable with TikTok as your online thing, but maybe try YouTube, or maybe you're comfortable with YouTube. Maybe expand yourself, to a different online platform. And then once you've done all of that, if you need to create your own opportunities and create opportunities for others, do that as well. So thank you so much for having me.
All right. Our next guest, Hunter Sharp. He is one of the co-founders of DogConnectors, an exceptional online marketing agency exclusively dedicated to pet brands. Graduating from Florida State University in the spring of 2020, Hunter embarked on the entrepreneurial journey alongside his esteemed business partner, Austin Boney. Together, they established DogConnectors during the fall semester of 2018, and through their unwavering dedication, transformed it into a thriving multi-seven-figure agency within just 5 years of operations. Presently, Hunter assumes the role of overseeing the operations team at DogConnectors, a dynamic group comprising more than 25 talented individuals hailing from various corners of the globe. Beyond his professional endeavors, Hunter cherishes his leisure time spent with his fiancée, Jessica, and dog, Willa, as they oftentimes can be found at the beach or local hike trails. Please welcome Hunter Sharp.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Hunter Sharp. As you can see, I am one of the co-founders here at DogConnectors. Want to tell you a little bit more about my story and some key lessons that I've learned along the way that has been really instrumental for my success. So what is DogConnectors? To put it simply, we run pet ads for pet brands online. So Facebook, Instagram, I'm sure everyone here has seen dogs scrolling on their Instagram page. Those dogs are making money, believe it or not. They're selling products for these pet brands, much of them that we are working with here at DogConnectors. So that is what we do. Now, some key lessons that I've learned along the way to be able to operate DogConnectors is you have to be able to both delegate and be a master of your own time. To be able to scale, you have to be able to trust those around you to be able to do a job at a very, very high level. At DogConnectors, as mentioned, we have a pretty large team, 25 full-time team members in particular, and I have learned, I think as everyone is aspiring entrepreneurs, you're a perfectionist. You want to be able to do things yourself, and you do not want to relinquish that opportunity to do it, like I said, by yourself. So what I have learned to be able to scale DogConnectors into what it is today is be able to delegate. And when you're able to delegate, not only are you freeing yourself up to do other things, but you're also freeing up your team to be able to do what they do best. I'm a big sports fan, and what I've learned from recruitment, especially at Florida State, when you recruit the best players to your team, what typically happens? You win. So finding those best individuals on your team is truly the number one thing that I have learned by working at DogConnectors. The second thing that I wanted to bring up as well, if you're able to proficiently delegate, is you'll find the number one resource all of us have. It's not money, it's time. With time, you're able to accomplish more and do things that you love, right? Being able to work on your business versus in your business is a huge difference. What does that mean? Working in your business is working on the day-to-day operations that need to take place for the business to run. If you have delegated correctly, you have individuals that are very, very strong at what they do to be able to do that for you. By doing so, that has allowed me to get my number one resource back, and that is time. To have the time to now work on the business instead of in the business has been, like I said, super, super crucial to our success. One thing right now, again, that I'm putting most of my time in with DogConnectors is recruitment. As I mentioned before, if we can get those A players into DogConnectors, we're going to be successful. I do want to tell you a quick story about this. When I was in college, Professor Gardner in the back, I was in his class, and we were faced with a really tough challenge in trying to code an application. I had no coding experience, so to be able to accomplish that goal, we were able to delegate out that task to make that happen. By doing so, both myself and my business partner, who was not able to come today, were able to focus our time on other aspects of the business. And what that was bringing in leads to the business to scale. So ultimately, finding those two things between delegation and time will lead to your success as a business owner in whatever you're trying to do. And by doing all of those two things, you'll be able to focus on what you love. I truly love what I do every single day at DogConnectors. I think looking at pet brands and the content that we make is such an amazing thing to be able to do. It puts smiles on people's faces. So I have a great team. I have a great business partner, Austin, who, like I said, wasn't able to come today, but very, very blessed to be here. And like I said, Professor Gardner, thank you for nominating me to be here today and come back to Florida State. So I just want to leave you guys all with that. Definitely chase your dreams. Be able to delegate. It's not taking things off of your plate because you're being lazy, but you have to trust those around you to be able to accomplish your goals. By having that, you'll have time back in your hands to create the next big thing or continue to grow your business and ultimately do what you love. So thank you, everybody.
And our final guest, our final speaker, Ms. Angela Walker. A Tallahassee native since youth, Angela attended Tallahassee Community College and then Florida State University, where she graduated with degrees in finance and business management. Equipped with the knowledge and skills needed for her future endeavors, Angela embraced the opportunities Tallahassee had to offer and began her journey as a local business owner, opening her first business in 2012 right after her second child was born. Her passion for entrepreneurship and the culinary arts led her to embark on a new journey in 2015 when she founded her own catering business, Social Catering and Events, a forward-the-table hospitality group. Angela's culinary ventures continue to grow to include new projects, most recently adding a new retail store called Social Kitchen. to their expanding brand. Angela's commitment and innovation in the food industry have earned her several accolades, including breaking the top 25 3 years in a row for the prestigious Seminole 100 Award, recognizing her company as one of the fastest growing businesses among FSU alumni. Please welcome Angela Walker.
Hello. I'm the last one. All right, well, thank you guys for having me here today. I'm very excited. I decided I'm a podium person. I'll also warn you, I did not take public speaking like some of our other people before me. My name is Angela Walker. I own Social Catering and Events, a local full-service catering company here in town. I am a local Tallahassean. I've really enjoyed sitting back and listening to everyone's stories, hearing what bits and pieces I agree with, and some of the things that have been different about my own journey. Started my first business when I was 29, so I just barely made this group of people. I did have a couple more before that, one which really isn't worth talking about, a small little t-shirt company back when I was 22. And then, another business which really was the catalyst for where I am today. The ride's been wild. The lessons learned along the way have been many. So real quick, like I said, Social Catering, we're a full-service catering company. If you've been to a wedding or a large corporate event, we'll have servers there who set you up, break you down, do all that fun stuff. It's a lot of hard work. If any of you have ever dabbled in the hospitality industry, you'll know picking up a restaurant and taking it to a different location and making it look easy is not, and I have an incredible team. Happy to say we have about 80 employees today. That's a big conversation, in itself, is the current workforce and what you have out there, and really could be a whole session on its own. But my goal in these few short minutes is to quickly tell you my story that got me where I am today, and hopefully highlight some of my learning experiences. To go back a little bit, or maybe in some of your heads, a lot bit. I graduated from FSU in 2008, where I double majored in finance and business management. Hospitality was not the direction I saw myself going in. It was very different, and my college experience was very different. And I think that that's a big takeaway that everyone needs to understand. When I graduated in 2008, I had a 3-year-old. My college experience was about putting your head down and getting it done. It wasn't networking. It wasn't special groups. It was no internships or anything like that. It was going every single day, remembering that you had something to work for, and I wanted to be successful, and I wanted to be successful for my daughter. And so I took that, and I graduated. I was very proud that day, graduated top of my class, and didn't know what I was gonna do. I really didn't. And that's my first takeaway for you guys. It's okay. It's okay. If you're in entrepreneurship school and you feel like that means the day you graduate you're supposed to be an entrepreneur, give yourself a break, all right? It takes time. Following graduation, I did have to figure it out. I still hadn't said the words out loud, I'm going to own my own business. I want to be a business owner. Those were things that were scary as a young mom. And it was something that I really didn't think I had the headspace to figure out. I had 2 incredible mentors. If you don't have a mentor in your life, find somebody, whether that's a great manager, a family member. I had 2 family members here in town, 2 uncles who were successful businessmen, and they let me practice on their business. They knew what I was capable of, and they knew that I would come in and love what they do and work hard for them, and I did that every day, and they were willing, because of that, to show me the ropes, let me try things that maybe I wouldn't have gotten in a traditional work setting. And I can still call them if I need them. I can still call one of them if I need them. My heavenly mentor, he passed away 3 weeks ago. Before he passed, he told me how proud he was and gave me some pieces of advice right before, he was always a man of advice. My parents were largely a big part. Lean on your family. Starting a business is hard. It is. I talk to a lot of younger people all the time, and I just said, who's your tribe? Who's your circle? Because you need that. Whether you're going to be running it by yourself or you're attempting to get staff, you're going to need some people to lean on. Your takeaway, I'm sorry. The other thing I had to figure out about the direction is my husband was also in hospitality. And that was going to be difficult. If any of you, again, have ever worked in restaurants, having 2 people in the industry is tough. Our first restaurant was a failure. We opened that when I was 26 years old. But I say it all the time, you cannot be taught what you learn through failure. A couple people before me talked about failure, and I think we're kind of sick. We embrace it. What I do wrong? What can I do better? I ask myself all the time, we do hundreds and, really, we're in the thousands of events a year now with my company. And I love when people tell us we do wonderful things, but dang if I don't love when somebody gives us something to grow on. Look for the things to grow on. It's important. That brings me to social catering and events. 8 years ago, I guess I should say 10 years ago, when we closed our restaurant, which was largely due to poor partners. I believe strongly in partners. I have the most amazing partners. I've lost partners along the way who were great and decided to go off and do their own things because they were entrepreneurs of themselves and knew what they were looking for. Partners are wonderful. First business closed because those partners were not the right fit. If you're going to do partners, make sure that you guys bring different things to the table and that you complement each other. I think we were talking last night. It's harder than a marriage. It really is. And it's harder to get out of sometimes than a marriage. So if you're going to go the partner route, make sure you're ready to be married to them. I have great partners. And, when we started this company, we're part of For the Table Hospitality. So Madison Social was the first concept. If you're here, if you went to FSU, everybody's been to Madison Social. I partnered with those guys and started social catering. We were the second concept, and that was when For the Table Hospitality was created. It's been a wild ride. I have grown every single year, and I am proud of that. But I would be lying if I said it was easy. It is hard to grow. Growing pains and all of that, there's a reason they say that. I guess my biggest advice is stay true to yourself. Ask lots of questions along the way. Embrace the failure. And don't be afraid to take the next step. I'm opening my next concept in 2 weeks. It is my passion project and something I love. I also joke it was supposed to be my retirement plan, something I did when I was bored. I am not bored, but I'm very excited about this, and I'm excited because it's a challenge, and I'm learning something new. So 8 years later, we're going to take on something new. We're going to try it, and all of us crazy people who do this and go out and do it all the time, who knows what's coming up next. So. To my new friends, you guys were awesome to listen to. For anybody who has questions about anything we do, we're looking forward to talking to you more about it. And thank you very much for having us today.
Thank you all for the great presentations. I'd like to invite you back up for our Q&A session. So please go ahead, take a seat to the front. To anyone with questions, you can tweet the questions using #7under30 and @JimMarinCollege. And our Twitter monitor will present the questions, or for our in-person audience, you can come up to the mic. It will be in the middle aisle and ask your question.
Everyone got their mics back on?
I hope so.
Great.
Hey, this is for the Burdash babes, and then to yourself. There you are in front of me. And so I just heard a great presentation from Dr. McNeese, and it talked about a social following. I believe you said that you didn't intend to develop the Burdash babes. Can you tell me about that moment when you realized that it was a thing? And again, to yourself, Angela, because I've heard of Madison Social, and it had a kind of a cult following of when you realize that it's a thing.
You go first.
Okay. Well, I think the Burdash Babe community kind of happened accidentally. Like, I really didn't plan on starting this business. It kind of fell into my lap with the COVID pandemic when I had, honestly, a lot of free time, like we all did. So I think it really came from just Instagram, and all the girls who were wearing my designs started posting, and they would tag me, and they'd send me so many, thoughtful messages about kind of how they felt in my my designs. And I think that's kind of why I curated the Burdash Babe tagline, just to kind of bring everybody together. And now I use it like religiously. So on Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, it's always hashtag Burdash Babe.
First off, I'd like to make it clear, I can take no, Madison Social has really not much to do with me. That's not true. My husband was the very first employee for Madison Social as their general manager. But when we started Social Catering and everyone called us Madison Social Catering, I was like, I'll take it. If that gets us in the door with you, I'll take it. Because we were two separate companies. My partner, Matt, was a social media. I mean, when I tell you, talk about bringing different strengths to the table with your partnerships, he's a whiz when it comes to social media and marketing, was able to build that brand and then teach people like myself who didn't have those strengths, like what it is that we need to do within our own businesses. And it's funny now when I hire people, you know, I sit down and we have to have discussions about branding a lot and social media and just that, like, get ready. I don't know what we're going to do tomorrow. You know, it might be Harry Potter's birthday and we're going to, like, you know, have to make a cake and sing happy birthday to him on the 10th hour. But like, you know, those are the things that we do to just kind of keep awareness to the brand, and has helped in the subsequent businesses that we're opening, really from what Matt created with Madison Social.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I just want to say thank you for coming. First of all, my name is Hugo Davies. I'm a sophomore here studying finance, and I have entrepreneurial dreams, and I'm running a real estate business right now, and I want to ask, how do you guys have any advice for managing time from school and internships, as well as then dreams of running your own business? To anyone.
I'll give a little. I'll enter. Yeah, I definitely have experience with having a lot going on and managing time. I can relate as well. I was going to school with having children and being married and still running the business, so I definitely had to manage my time. One of the things that I love to take advantage of, especially in this day and age that I believe entrepreneurs didn't have back then, is just technology. So like wherever in my business that I can automate and just have a systems, like I'm crazy about systems in place, that helps. And also creating like a routine really helps as well. You know, whether it's a planner or whatever works for you, just to keep it organized. I think that could be helpful, but also delegating. I think someone mentioned that as well. Like if it's just a friend or doing things in bulk, if you can do something like in bulk and then schedule it out, that can help as well. So I know a lot of business tools have schedulers and things like that that you can use to help you with managing time.
Oh, yeah. No, I want to hit on what she said on the automation part, figuring out whatever technical tools you can implement, and that's key. I know I brought up like ChatGPT, and I mean, that's just one of a billion tools, but that one's big, and maintaining the schedule too. We have a morning call at 8, and then we have a call at 4 every day with the team, and it's just sort of talking about what pain points came up throughout the day, what got done, where we're at on certain initiatives. So, yeah, use your Outlook calendar. Learn how to use it.
I have a quick little saying for you. It's automate, delegate, eliminate. If you can't automate it, delegate it. If you can't delegate it, try and eliminate it.
Good.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I keep that one.
That was good.
Hey guys, how you doing? Thank you for being here. Right now, my name is Montel, Textiles, Apparel, Entrepreneurship Ambassador. And I want to ask, like, for me, I have a business. Mentally, it drained me. COVID hit and everything, like, excuse me, we're all adults here to shit. So, my question to you guys are, mentally, what did you guys, find your pivoting point during that time? Because some people don't understand how stressful, mentally draining it can be, especially when you're starting to get successful and gets taken away from you. There's a couple of my classmates, we actually happened to a couple of us, and we started back over. It's like, but my class, I would say they're freaking amazing. students. Like, I feel like I've gotten stronger because of them. So with you guys, mentally, how did you get like therapy, things like that? I was never someone who was for therapy, but I'm an advocate for it now because I feel like because of that and because of them, I've become stronger. So did you guys like ever have that low point?
Yeah.
I think we all have.
Yeah. I mean, being in events during COVID, right? My husband also being in the industry, I mean, there was a time where I thought we were going to lose everything that we had worked so hard for. We'd already done that once, and so the thought of doing it again and like starting over, that was terrifying. Yeah, therapy's great. I think we were talking about it last night. Like, I found therapy in hobbies. Like, there's only so much you can control. So figure out what you can control, and once you're past that, like, I mean, I started gardening. I started doing everything that you could possibly think of. COVID was a low point for so many people. And that word pivot, if I could never hear the word pivot again, because it's not you, but right? Like, we all say that. Like, it's just like, how many times did you have to say, okay, pivot, we got to do it again? I mean, we were talking last night about teaching mozzarella making classes online, and I'm doing this, and I was like, this is where we're at. How long is this going to last? But you know, it is hard and it is draining. Staying, just doing the best you can and giving yourself a break. There's not much you control in certain situations.
Yeah, I want to touch on that too. Having good partners, if you're going to have partners in the business, is huge. And being able to basically vent at them helps big time. One of my partners is my brother, so he doesn't really have a choice, but sometimes I'll sit there at the end of the day, I'm like, can you believe this happened? And this, that. And I'll just sit there and listen, and I'll do the same. And I mean, it's therapy in and of itself right there. Actual therapy is great too, but that's my 2 cents.
That's great, and I agree with everything everyone said. One thing I learned is to have like boundaries around business. I think when you're working like a 9 to 5, it's easy to like clock in, clock out. Okay, now it's family time, now I'm home. But when we first become entrepreneurs, at least I'll speak for myself, it's like, it's 24/7, like we're on. So when I realized like, okay, this is too much, I need boundaries. Like, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, there's other things. Like, there needs to be a time for business, and there needs to be a time for a break, or to rest, or to spend with family, or to do what you love and enjoy. And I guess as an entrepreneur, you have to be more intentional about that and for your mental health versus, you know, having a timer where you clock in and clock out.
Mm-hmm. I want to expand on that. Oh, sorry.
No, totally.
I just want to ask you, what's your why? Why did you start your business?
My why was for my godparents who saw so much more in me, but they passed away because of cancer. And so I started doing fashion shows because I was at FSU for when we had a fashion program, and I was in there for Fashion Texas. So I know about that book. I know. So it was what they believed in me. They always saw something more. I was a kid who was like running around in Orlando, and I mean, I love sports and I love just being active. But it was, and this is something that some guys can actually understand. When you're a black male, you don't talk about fashion. It's things that you want to make sure you're very strong about. You don't talk. I was into fashion because of my grandmother, who passed away, and she taught me everything about fashion. My aunt went to FSU for merchandising. My why was to make my family proud of me. My why was to keep that name of my grandfather. I'm the third, so for me, it's that name means a lot for me. My grandfather, my father. So my wife can go on forever, but it's just wanting to be that successful black male who wasn't a rapper, who wasn't, you know, all the things that you might see, but you might see those who were like the doctor, like who created did the first C-section or something. Just I wanted to give a different outlook for young males of all races and cultures, because I mean, I have great-grandfather who's white, great-grandfather who's Native American. I mean, but I just want to be that biggest thing.
When you go home tonight, I want you to turn off the lights. I want you to sit on your bed. I want you to go in your memory, and I want you to envision yourself talking to your grandparents.
You want me to cry?
And I want you, let's say you're in a rut, I want you to tell them why you're in a rut, and I want you to ask them for your advice how to get out and how to keep going forward. When you're not at home and it's not in the dark, I know you're a family man, I want you to write down, okay, as a Black man, I want to do this, this, and this is how it's going to impact my community. Ask your family to support you, to pay attention to you whenever you're feeling down. I'm sure your family is more excited for you than you even are for yourself.
Oh, they are the biggest cheerleaders on the planet. Whenever I say I'm going to do it, they know I'm very stubborn.
Hey, that's a good thing. It's great to be stubborn as an entrepreneur. Ask their help. You're comfortable around them. They want you to win. Who says you can't? And ask your grandparents too.
I want to add just a touch because I think you might have answered your own question when she just asked you that question. I think I could tell when you're talking about it, you have a drive and there was passion and you just looked so like it was meaningful for you to answer her question. And I think sometimes if you feel doubtful, you need to ask yourself the question again, why? That was beautiful.
And really quick, I want to add a touch. I know you said you're going to do it, but you are doing it. So give yourself some credit because I think that they would already be so proud of you for where you are today. And I think sometimes we're just going for the goal. We don't celebrate our wins along the journey. So just take the time while you're asking yourself your why, reflect on, look where I am. Look what I'm doing. Like, I can celebrate this, and that'll give you some peace and, some opportunity to just enjoy what you've already accomplished.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jordan. It's really nice to see so many familiar faces of classmates, people I went to school with, and I wanted to say congratulations on all of your accomplishments. Your speeches were wonderful. I've been nonstop smiling. My cheeks actually hurt right now. But I kind of wanted to touch, I love this gentleman's question about the mental health aspect of it all because it's so important. But I kind of just wanted to build upon the entrepreneurial spirit and this fire that we all have. We're all so on fire for what we do, and it's not something you can just explain to anyone. So I guess my question is, what mantra do you live by every day? If any.
Keep chopping wood. That's what I say to myself every day. Just like things come up, problems happen, just keep chopping.
Similarly to that, I think it's the brick by brick mentality. You're not going to build something overnight, but brick by brick, you definitely can get there.
Mine is look for what you notice, but not everybody sees, because it's all in the details. And you're going to see something that everybody else is going to miss, and that might be your why.
I've said it forever. Everything happens for a reason. I think as business owners, we're faced with tons of obstacles all the time. And so, I can't get hung up on them. I just have to believe and trust that, one door closes, another one opens. And so we just have to move on. Okay, great, that happened. So how are we going to fix it? What are we going to do? That's pretty much it.
I would say, as long as I'm making improvements every day, I'll always win. Be the person you needed to be when you were younger. And like what Nike said, just do it. Don't think about it, just do it.
I don't know if I have a mantra. I'm just going to be honest. I feel like I go through different seasons and phases, and what I'm focused on or what motivates me can shift and change around time. But I guess in this season right now that I'm in, I would say it would probably be just be you and you're enough.
Yeah, I don't know if I kind of have two. So whenever someone asks me how I'm doing, I always say either living the dream or another day in paradise. Life is great. We're all blessed to be here. We have AC. We have a fridge full of food. Maybe not all. I don't usually have a fridge full of food, but I have access to food. And it's great to be in my position. I know a lot of people would sacrifice to be there. So it's like a few days that suck aren't really the end of the world,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, babe.
So we're going to go ahead and, do you have any Twitter questions by any chance?
We do, actually. So our first is actually just a statement from Miss Marina Lixon. She wants Angela Walker to know that she is proud as punch and super happy for you guys and all of the entrepreneurs. So that came from our YouTube. And then the first question that we do have is from one of our ELIC students. And it can be for anyone. What was your biggest failures and how did you learn from it?
Ooh. That's a good question.
Let's go down the line.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, there's been plenty. I had one recently. We needed to set up these, I mean, it's not one of my biggest failures, but it's a failure. I guess I don't know, there's a lot of failures. There was a customer and they wanted us to set up these 2 test environments, and sometimes we slow rolled it. And so now there's another competitor that's set up one of the test environments, and now we got to go beat them with our test environment when we could have had the opportunity surrounded. And that's happened in the past with other customers, one in particular that we lost. And, I guess what we learned from it is the sense of urgency always. You're sitting there and there's always other sharks in the water that are looking at your customers, wanting them. So, always be present, stay urgent, just get after them. That's what I got.
Thank you. I do have another question. Let's see. So another student asked, as a freshman who is interested in launching a business, was it one class I should take in particular other than the Excel class? He wrote that one down. So is there another class recommendation?
There's a managing class. I think that's very, very important. Learning to work with others, be a good leader. Some of it can be taught. I think some of it also is a little bit of personality. But definitely learning to manage as you scale is very, very important.
All of Bob Gardner's classes.
I can second that.
Load them up.
Okay, all right.
I don't have any classes specifically in the university. There's plenty of great ones to choose from, especially in the College of Entrepreneurship. But I would say it's something about keep learning outside the classroom. I obsessively have started reading biographies on people I admire or people that I just read in other biographies too. And I think that's part of the reason why I'm standing here today, still surviving as a company. So get into that habit of continuous learning. You should be excited to learn. And it's a lot easier to learn when you're not being told to learn in the classroom, at least for me. I did not do well in school. So, but we're here, so.
I think something that's important too is it might not matter what classes you're taking, but it's what you do with those classes and how you take what you're learning and actually go to class and meet with your professors. They're here to help you and take advantage of their kindness.
Yeah.
Thank you. I have another question from online, and then we can go back to the audience if they have any additional questions. But this student wants to know, what is one trait that you feel is most important for me to embody as an entrepreneur so I can work on that while I'm in college? Yes.
One trait that I think is so important to embody as an entrepreneur is service. I think every entrepreneur should know how to serve. We've heard people say, you can make money in your sleep. You don't even have to run the business. But, even if you implement, a level of automation or system, you still have to show up for that individual and implement some level of service, discovering what are the needs of your customer to the people that you're reaching and really being able to impact them or give them something that can help them. So if you want to develop that in college, work for someone for free. Do something just to help people and see what you learn from that experience.
Thank you. All right, I'll give it back to you, Peter.
All right, so anybody in the attendance? I know Gabe, yeah.
Hello, my name is Gabriel Masachillo, and I'm a grad student here in the KFC. I'm currently studying product development, and I own my own company. I want to thank you guys again for coming out here and sharing your stories. But before I pose my question, I want to thank Lawrence for being so vulnerable with everybody and just being really open and getting to learn through him and from his experiences in class, it's been a real big eye-opener for, I think, a lot of us in our classes with him, so I want to thank Lord again for that. But my question for you guys is tonight is, I've been working on my community for almost 3 years now, and I know it's, you only, it takes like 10,000 hours to really know if you're good at something, master your craft, and it takes a lot of years to, really see yourself succeed and your business grow. But I'm starting not to think maybe that's me, and I want to pursue some other goals in life. And for those of you who have failed and tried again, when did you know that what your failing point was and kind of what was going to be your next jumping point to your next endeavor?
I asked for help. I think one of my biggest failures is I picked the wrong manufacturer. I rushed into the process. Like when how do I explain this? I had cold called probably 200 manufacturers in China. I had sent out my designs almost blindly to one. I was just so excited that someone was going to help me start my business that I didn't do enough research on them. They took my designs and they sold them to other companies. And other brands started manufacturing my work. I knew at this point, kind of similar to what you're saying now, I was overwhelmed. I didn't know what to do. I was self-aware that I didn't know what to do, but I didn't understand the next right move. Go to someone who's accomplished what you want to accomplish. I went to my teachers. They sat down with me and they said, listen up. You're rushing into this. You're making mistakes. You're gonna burn your 20s just going at your business constantly. Take a deep breath. It's probably gonna take at least 5 years in the industry working for someone else before you're gonna become the entrepreneur that you need to be. Take a look at yourself, understand what are your strengths and weaknesses, what do you prioritize in life? Life is not all your career. It's a journey. And the great thing about being an entrepreneur is you create your own job. You get to make money and get resources just by being yourself. Who do you want to be? What kind of life do you want to live? Focus on building that, and the results will come along with.
I think mine was, when we lost our first restaurant, that was like losing a part of myself. Again, you put everything, your heart and soul, this was your passion. I don't think any of us go into, starting a business lightly, financially, emotionally, mentally, all of these things got put into that. And so when we lost that, when I kind of came out of that haze, which it was a dark place when I failed that first time, I asked myself, do I still love what I do? And I think that was an important thing. Like if you come out of it and you can say, I still love what I do. Okay, why did I fail? And is there anything I can do about that? For me, it was, sitting around waiting for people to walk in the door. And, there's all kinds of things that go into running a business. And depending on what kind of business you're going to run, do you have labor costs or, what are your operating costs associated with that? And is there anything you can do about it? And I was like, well, yeah, I love what I do. And let's just make sure next time I know exactly how many people I'm going to feed and that they pay me before I do it. And I was like, catering, that's a thing. And so I was looking for a way to continue to do what I loved. But we had to, I think most people, you got to take a break, and you have to give yourself a break, and just ask yourself constantly, do you still love what you do? So.
That's good. And I'll just say it's okay to try something different. Because I think you asked that, like, what you want to try, like a different route, like that's completely fine, and I've done that a lot. So yeah, it's okay.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Veronica Dalton. I'm a graduate student here in textiles and apparel. So I kind of have an interesting background coming into the graduate program. I got my degree in theater, design, and production. Like, I'm here to art, that's like what I want to do. And I've been trying to figure out, moving forward in my path, how do I keep my own creative voice and my own art within my work? I know you said you're painting and you're a creative writer, you write books. Like, how do you stay true to yourself without just designing or painting or writing for what like the general populace wants? Because I know like a lot of like trends, it's like you're trying to follow what's popular, or this is like the style everybody's writing in, but how do you stay true to yourself?
Yes. That's a good question. I'll just say, like, when I'm creating content, like for my YouTube channel, for example, I don't like to look at other people's content. So I just try to just create from myself, and then I put it out there, and then once it's out there and it's done, then I might look at what other people are saying just to keep an open mind and kind of bounce. But I try to do my things first, like by myself, because I don't want to be like copying what someone else is doing. Like I want to know that it's just coming authentically from me. And I also, like we were talking about this yesterday, like when it comes to like writing books or different things like that, just how I operate, I'm not like looking for ideas like what should this book be about. Like I kind of just create off of my experiences in life and things that I'm learning, like what just happens organically and naturally, so that I can know I'm fully being authentically me.
For me, I think it's a mix. So in my business, I create each collection around a survivor. And so the theme of every design, every fashion piece, the art, was always going to be true to them. In fashion, you do have to pay attention to the trends. There are some things you do need to be cognizant of, and you kind of don't have a choice. You have to marry business and creativity and be influenced by both. There's nothing wrong with that. But for you, I know you're talking about creating weird art. What inspires you to create weird art?
Oh, just kind of like my personal experience, but like what I'm trying to do career-wise is definitely separate from what I'm doing as an artist.
Okay.
So it was kind of a two-pronged question, like how do you stay inspired to make your own stuff and keep your own voice, even when, you have to get like a corporate job, just to keep the bills running and stuff like that. I mean, I just like find inspiration from my own life though. Yeah. And I just like collage it all out. And I'm like, oh wow, this is great, but will somebody buy it from me? What's for me?
I love it. I love it. I would create a space in your house where this is the only creativity zone. When I'm in this place, corporate's behind me. I'm only focusing on what I want to do, and also create a journal. Write down, observe, learn yourself. Write down what inspires you, and keep researching. I'm looking forward.
Thank you guys.
You're welcome. Thank you.
My name is Gabriel. I'm actually at the Digital Media Production College, or College of Communication, but I run a media production company, and we create commercials, online content, social media. We're actually covering this event. Thank you, Blacks on Launchpad, for hiring us for this really cool opportunity. I recently came across a video on social media. It was a business owner, an entrepreneur, and he said that anytime that he finds someone that can do a job, 70% of what he could do, he would delegate it out to them. And that killed me a little bit just because I'm a perfectionist, as most entrepreneurs are. And a lot of what my brand is the quality. So it's kind of scary delegating that out and feeling like you might compromise on those things. So I was wondering if you guys had any advice on delegating work out, finding people, and I don't know, is that a common philosophy, or it's like you're never going to feel like somebody can do something as good as you can running your own company? Not to be cocky or anything, there's definitely people out there that are better, but you know what I'm saying on that end of things.
Yeah, I would actually go against his advice. I only hire people who I think are A players. So once you hire, and this is from like Steve Jobs, he says like, I won't hire a B player, C player. Once you get a C player, they'll corrupt the B players and they'll make them Cs. Like if you want your company to be the best, you need to hire the best. So you should feel comfortable giving them the tasks, and they should be going above and beyond what you would do actually. Hire the experts in the field that complement you, not the ones that just are there, that they're cheap or whatever.
I agree with that. The whole hiring thing is the most important part when you're building a team. I mean, if you whiff on somebody who's not any good, it's expensive, and what he was saying, it can corrupt other team members and teammates. When you hire somebody that you think is an A player, at least this is what I'll do. I mean, get in the fire with them when they're on a couple of calls and be with them on those calls, kind of talk through it with them, or talk to the customer with them almost, and I don't know, get a feel for how they work and I don't know, just talk to them all the time. I don't know, be there with them, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And, show them that, you're willing to stay up late at night and work on customer problems, at 1, 2 in the morning if it pops up with them. And, once they know that you're there with them, at least is what I've seen, I mean, they'll work, when you're not with them, they'll work just as hard.
Yeah, we were talking about this actually as a group. Like that was a pretty hot topic amongst ourselves this afternoon. And it's just, I mean, the way I look at it is I was told a lot, like you're never going to find somebody who loves your business as much or cares as much. I don't think that's true at all. I mean, of course, like it's not theirs. And at the end of the day, there's got to be a line between I'm the owner but I am so blessed with a staff of people who show up every single day and work hard. And like we take care of each other and we're a family. And so don't feel like all that is out there are people who are going to do 70% of the job, because there is plenty of people out there who, like running a business is not for them. They want to work for a great business owner and they want to feel part of a family, and that's really rewarding for them. And so, I feel like that's important to say is there's so many good people out there who believe in the same thing you believe in. And if you can foster them and get them with you, you're just going to be able to grow. And that's where you get to see how much you can do as a business owner. And I've certainly been blessed, and I will attest to that. So. And
has a lot of that been, because you kind of got me thinking, development, maybe they came in 70%. Do you bet a lot on potential? Because obviously you can hire A players who have the stats, or you can say, okay, this person has the heart that I want, but they are 70% right now. How much of that is development?
I was going to say, I think it depends on where you're at in your business. I think when you're starting out, it's tough to pay top dollar to get those A players, but once your business is at the position where you can't afford the best of the best, then the whole game turns into recruitment, and then in relation to when do you feel comfortable delegating out said tasks to them, as Charlie, I think you mentioned, getting in the fire with them and doing it, you'll be that much more comfortable to delegate at that time once you've mastered it. You can't delegate unless you also have mastered the said task.
Getting somebody with a high work ethic is, we've got one guy who came in and he didn't know all the different technologies and systems and how to admin them, but we knew once we hired him that he would come in and he would learn them all and get good at them quick, and he did. And that was just based on his work ethic and, running a reference check and stuff. You can figure that out.
Yeah,
just talking to somebody.
For sure. The one thing I feel like hasn't been mentioned also is culture at the company. So that starts from like day one. You have to set the culture that you will accept nothing but the best, and then just adhere to that yourself. But that's like what's going to bring those people who might not be up to par yet, but you think have potential, like to that level. Or on the contrary, they might also fail, and you have to cut that off.
Thank you.
Great question.
Good question.
Hello, my name is Nicholas Moreno. I'm here with Sewing Creations, a local alteration shop. Thank you guys for being here. You guys were amazing, so thank you very much. My question is twofold. One, does this still bring you joy? And two, what part of the process gets you most excited?
This brings me so much joy. If it didn't bring me joy, I probably wouldn't be doing it. I think I get most excited in my business just working with women one-on-one, building relationships with them. Like some of my clients have become like my best friends, like people who have attended my retreats or I've helped them write their books. I'm like hearing their stories and we're connecting on personal levels. So I think just the relationships that are formed and the people that you get to meet, at least through my business, that's what has brought me the most joy. And it's made my life richer. Like the richness goes beyond just monetary. But I feel like my life is so much richer because of the relationships I've built.
I agree. It still very much so brings me a lot of joy, and I would say the one thing that I find the most pleasure in is fixing a problem, just finding a solution. to an issue, and doing it with good teammates. And it can be something as simple as, Patty in accounting, she's locked out of her Outlook and needs a password reset or whatever. And, we fix her password and the Teams chat's going off and we're all fired up. I mean, just something as simple as that, or fixing a major outage, just like fixing that solution, making the customer happy, making people happy, and doing it with the people that surround you. I love that.
You gotta love the process. There's no end goal. It's just staying in business, continuing to grow, and doing it with the people that you enjoy working with.
You might not be changing the entire world, but you're changing at least one person's life. And I think that in itself can, like what you said, it makes your life richer.
Thank you.
Hello. Hi. My name is Ahmad. I am a student here at the General College of Entrepreneurship. I actually have very specific questions to some of the panelists. So I really connected with Jacky and Charles and Hunter very much. My question for Jacky is, how did you figure out your model, your business model? Because your startup is more you have a very specific model and you're scaling so much around the world. How did you figure out your model, and how did you convince your first few customers? My question for Hunter would be, how did you go about delegation and free your time? Really, what is the process that goes under this? And for Charles, you said that you cater to more than 140 customers, and everyone has their own needs and their own features, and they have their own problems. How do you manage such big operations, running this company, and as you guys mentioned, maybe delegating, and what's the process behind this? And the question for the three of you, final question for the three of you, when you bring those A players into the company, or anyone in the panel that can answer this question, when you bring those A players, how do you keep them in the company and make sure that they don't go somewhere else?
Yeah, I think we should tackle that one at a time. So the first question was, how did I figure out a business model that scales? I got a little bit lucky. I took stats from my high school's football team, and that's kind of where I was first exposed to the problem. I experienced it myself, and I knew that there was a need for it. And at Florida State, I was the co-founder for the sports analytics organization here. Part of what I did is work with the football team, so I saw the high end of tech and what that is already capable in offering teams and how much value that brings. So it was pretty straightforward. I was well, let's kind of bridge that gap there. So I built the product, and I kind of knew the Facebook model. The Facebook model, by the way, and it's super creepy. Mine's less creepy because it's cooler. But Facebook, you're the product. So they're collecting data from you, and then they sell it to advertisers. For mine, yeah, the athletes are the product, and I'm selling that to college football recruiters. So at least some people are winning with mine. And then, so once I put it out there, the first users came. I just emailed some coaches I knew, and I told them, hey, this is the app, and they were pretty quick to sign up, and fortunately, they liked what I had, and they shared it with other coaches, and then kind of they shared it with others, and I was very, very fortunate with that.
So just so I know your question correctly, you want to know how do you put in processes to delegate effectively? So as a digital marketing agency, we use a project manager called Asana. So Asana, if you're watching this, I'd like to cut, but I think having a project management tool such as Asana or Monday is super crucial, at least in our line of business, and building out great processes, so SOPs, to help those players continue to grow. You can't expect someone to come into your business and know exactly what's needing to be done. It takes you to build out those processes yourself to then be able to delegate that out effectively. And to answer answer your second question of how do you keep A players in your organization, I think it's building a great culture for number one, and also giving them an offer that's too tough to leave. Many of the team members that we have at DogConnectors have some very high upside type of deals that allows them to grow with the company. And when you can give people truly skin in the game, they're not going to look elsewhere because they're not going to get that opportunity anywhere else. So give those people, let the pie grow for everybody. And if you do that, then everybody's going to win. But you got to build out those effective systems yourself to be able to delegate, or else they're going to think that you're unorganized and they're going to look elsewhere. So it's a twofold response back.
For your question of how we manage the customer base, it's calculated chaos. I mean, it's very chaotic. I would say the number one thing is organization. We've got a great tool called IT Glue, but there's a million and one of them that you can purchase. But just knowing, when renewals are coming up, or, what the IP address of something is, or having that all in one singular place that everybody in the company can reference. Yep. I say that's one thing. Redundancy, so where multiple people, when I'm out, or if my other partner's out, or if somebody else is out, we've got people that are ready to back them up, know exactly what they do. I mean, obviously, some of the senior level engineers and stuff are going to be able to do some things that others aren't, but just having that redundancy across the board helps out a lot. Accountability, everybody staying on top of each other, and then the communication. We've got each of the bigger customers has their own Microsoft Teams chat, and it has all the specific engineers that are tied to that account that need to be in it, and we live in Teams. It's just blast information via that platform, and you can use Zoom or Slack or whatever, but I don't know. I would say those are 4 pillars that help us manage it all. Still chaotic though.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You want to do that? Yeah.
Oh yeah. The keeping good employees is super important. Talent is what most of the money in businesses go to, and it's where most of your energy should go to as a founder. So it really just comes down to selling them on the vision. Same thing with investors, by the way. Sell them on the vision of where you're going to be or what you're going to be doing, and then that should get them in the door. The compensation pack will keep them there. And you want to have it structured in a way that's not just pure salary. I'm an early stage startup. It's not like I'm loaded with cash right now, but I'm loaded with equity. So, so it's some bit of equity or maybe revenue sharing, and as well as actual traditional salary. And you kind of play around with those different variables to get, make sure they're around.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right, that was a lot of great questions. I know there's a couple questions more for our speakers. Please know that you can come at the end to talk to them individually. I know we're excited to get more knowledge and more experiences, but don't throw away those questions. They took the time to come here. Doesn't mean that when time is up that you throw that away. Please come talk to them about those questions. Without further ado, let's give a round of applause to our speakers. With that being said, quickly, time is very valuable. If you could shorten that by having a quick conversation, coming out to a quick event, that saves you so much time. You could easily spend all your days reading a book, or you could take the time to network and have a quick coffee or come to events like this. This is why Jim Moran hosts these type of events, and I really appreciate y'all taking your time to come out. With that being said, we do have some gifts to give to you all on behalf of Jim Moran for your dedication, your knowledge, and your valuable experiences that you had to offer us at this time. But,
Thank you.
Are they on the visual?
Oh, sweet.
Sweet. Appreciate it. it, man. Yeah, it was fun.
I know, it was so thirsty. Are we? Thank you. All right.
Thank you. We open it now. Oh, it's closed. Coffee mug, I think.
That's cute.
All right, everybody, real quick. So thank you all. Real quick, I promise we're almost done. Thank you all for a great panel and some very interesting questions. It's always so inspirational for our students and us to see what can be accomplished at such a young age. And I know that you all have bright futures ahead. There will be some more great events for Tallahassee Impact Week, and you can find the schedule and the QR code on our screen in just a moment. Excuse me. Also, please check out our website, jmc.fsu.edu, for information about our Innovation Challenge for those students that are here. This is our biggest business model competition of the year. Also my favorite competition. And you could win up to $10,000 for our first place prize. The deadline to apply isn't until January 17th, so there's still plenty of time to apply. And you can talk to either me or Morgan if you have any questions. Now, I'd also like to thank our vendors really quickly. We have Social Catering here for our catering, which is going to happen in just a few minutes.
No pressure.
We also have WFSU, also Cinematize, one of our student entrepreneurs who is a photography business, and Gabe with Insight. Gabe with Insight Studio Productions also taking some video footage, and another student entrepreneur who did all of the event setup as well. And I'm probably forgetting some, sorry if I am. In a few minutes, we'll just do a quick turnover and bring some of the catering out. So if you want to ask any of your questions, feel free. You can get up and mingle. So thank you so much. And real quick, yes. Real quick plug for our next event is also Mentor Night, which is going to be the Wednesday after Thanksgiving in the same exact location. So if you want to network and hear a bit of our student businesses and what they're currently working on, Wednesday, November 29th, 6 to 8 p.m. here. We're also holding a raffle, so if you didn't get a ticket when you came in, go ahead and get one on your way out or when you're getting some food. So thank you. That's it. That's all I got. Thank you.